What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise Postgame Show presented by Sleeper. Today, your Portland Trail Blazers get their first win of the 2025-2026 NBA season as they absolutely destroy the Golden State Warriors, winning by a final score of 139. 139 points for your Portland Trail Blazers today. 139-19, that's a 20-point dub over the Warriors. The Blazers move to 1-1 on the season, and you can probably make the case that they should be 2-0 to start this year. But man, was tonight a ton of fun. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you are having a good Friday. Hopefully you have fun weekend plans. And this was a great start to the weekend as Tiago Splitter gets his first win as head coach. Man, a lot has happened in the last 48 hours. This is Eric and I's first opportunity to sit down and discuss the Chauncey stuff together. We have not discussed this stuff at all, so we're definitely going to do that tonight. I know a lot of you were begging for a live stream yesterday with all the breaking Chauncey news, but we'll definitely touch upon that tonight. And then we'll look at what worked so well for the Blazers offense in this game. How are they able to score 139 points after starting, I think, somewhat slow offensively? It was an ugly first quarter offensively, and then they absolutely turned on the Jets to blow the Warriors out of the building, playing at a breakneck pace, good transition early offense against a Warriors team that is old and was on the second night of a back-to-back. The Blazers did what they had to do. Eric, what's going on, man? How is your Friday treating you?
Well, it was better after watching this game because, man, that was a sweet win. Now, a little bit is Golden State obviously wasn't fully into this game after playing in overtime last night. This is already their third game in 4 days to start the season. So you knew if we got up by a little bit, they'd probably call off the dogs, which they did in the fourth quarter. But it doesn't take away from a sweet victory. I love the way this team played. They did what they had to do. You knew the Warriors would get tired if we ran them. And normally when we play the Golden State Warriors, I would say that's probably the one team you don't want to do that against. It really doesn't lead to success very often against them to get them in a track meet. But tonight, like I said, them playing for the third time in 4 days, I think you absolutely needed to do that. And they really showed that they were tired as the game went on. And what's fun about this game, in my opinion, is that it wasn't just like one guy taking over. Of course, it's awesome when Dame scores 50 points or whatever and we win. But you can say, you can go down the list, which we will, and point out several players that contributed to this win and felt like a really good team victory.
Yeah, it was a great team victory. There was multiple players in this game that had their best game since I can remember. I mean, even counting last year, Jeremy Grant's one of them. I mean, he was fantastic again today. I feel like the first two games of the season for Jeremy Grant are better than any two games from last year. I don't know if that holds up statistically, but I like him coming off the bench a lot, man. You know what? It's almost like he's pissed off that he's coming off the bench and he's taking it out on the other team. So yeah. Every post-game press conference, we need the reporters to ask him 6 questions about coming off the bench to piss him off for next game because he's not settling for a lot of mid-range jumpers. He still has his moments. There's a moment in this game that made me say WTF, but being super aggressive, attacking the rim, and it's working for him. So we're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into Chris Murray had himself maybe the best game of his career, in my opinion. He was fantastic on both ends of the floor tonight. Made a 3 as well. So back-to-back games with a made 3 from Chris. Hopefully he's turning a corner there as a shooter because then all the little stuff that he showed off today, if he's also knocking down threes, then you have yourself a solid role player. So going to say some nice things about Chris Murray. That's how good this game was. Going to say some nice things about Denny Avdia, who took over in the second quarter. Kind of got phased out a little bit in the second half, but it didn't matter. He had 20 points at halftime for the Blazers. Lots of good performances to talk about.
Matisse Thybulle came up big off the bench.
Yeah, Matisse, solid game. This was a game that that saw the Blazers kind of get punched a little bit early. They were down 8, 27-19 there in the first quarter. Steph Curry had himself a hot first quarter shooting the three ball. He was on fire, but there was a stretch there when Steph Curry subbed out of the game in the first half. The Warriors bench couldn't score against this Blazers defense. The only buckets they were getting were off of putbacks, off of missed shots. The Blazers really did a good job of winning the non-Steph Curry minutes in the first half. That completely changed the complexion of this game because they went from down 27-19 to being tied at 33. And then things kind of took off from there. It was still close late in the second quarter. The Blazers made a nice little run to end the half. How often do we talk about good teams finish halves well? And the Warriors have been the perfect example of that for the longest time, where they finish quarters well and they finish halves well. But they are on an old team on the second half of a back-to-back. It was nice for the Blazers to build some momentum going into halftime. And then they just slowly built their lead. You know, the Golden State cut it to 10 late in the third quarter, 101-91, where it seemed like maybe they would make this a game. And then the Blazers built their lead back, win by 20. We don't often see the Blazers like consistently build a lead against a good team, even on the second night of a back-to-back. I was very impressed with how they did that. They still gave up 119 points, right? It's not even like it was necessarily a great defensive night in terms of the points you let them put on the board. Like, it's solid. You know, it's a solid defensive night. They made a lot of plays that spurned their offense, so I think that's where you can be very satisfied with the defense today is the turnovers they forced. The turnovers they forced the Golden State Warriors into, let me get the exact count here, the Warriors turned over the ball 25 times. The Blazers had 13 steals. 13 steals in this one, and it really helps spur their pace. Some of the turnovers that they were able to force Golden State to commit, it's a big reason why they were able to put 139 on the board. So they win it going away, really satisfying win, and maybe a statement game. If only they could have won going away 2 nights ago against the Timberwolves, we'd be talking about a team that's 2-0 against 2 second-round Western Conference teams from last year, but I'll take 1-1. Was very, very pleased with this one.
Yeah, and one thing to note this year is Eric's going to get collab cammed. If you don't know what that means, it's our streaming software basically getting rid of him. No, you got collab cam. The one thing we're going to learn this year is you're going to get collab cam like 2 times a post-game show. So yeah, whatever.
Go on. I know. You're still talking when I brought you back.
So anyways, you mentioned the 119 scored against us, which doesn't seem like a great defensive play. But keep in mind, if we're going to play at a fast pace and push the ball up, there's going to be a lot more possessions in a game than we're used to.
Yep.
The previous, like the Nate McMillan, early Terry Stotts defenses, they tried to limit possessions and kept the points down that way. But our defensive rating, it's per 100 possessions. Yep. So even though we give up 119 points, if there's a lot more possessions during the game, the defense is still improving and could still be really good defensive rating wise. So
this is why you look at defensive rating instead of points per game against
right. Yeah. And as we get into it, we'll look at things like adjusted defensive rating and stuff like that as well. But for me, it's just about how they're playing. And in order to play this fast pace style, you need a couple things on defense. You need to force them to miss shots so you can get out and run off the rebounds, grab and go, which we have several players that are capable of doing so. And it's almost like kind of by committee right now without Scoot out there, without like a super true point guard. Although Drew's playing like a point guard right now. But so you need that. And we got a little bit of that tonight outside of Steph Curry being hot. We did force a lot of misses. And then the other thing is you need to create some turnovers, some live ball turnovers, so you can get out on the fast break. And we talked about if you're gonna hang your identity on being that super up and down the court team that just plays at a crazy tempo, you can't have as few fast break points as we had last game. I think we only had 11 and gave up 22. Tonight it was the opposite. We controlled all the fast break points. It didn't look that way, like it was going to go that way early. They leaked on several defensive possessions. The Warriors did, and got some easy baskets in transition. But we shored that up, and from there on out, after the first few minutes of them doing that, we completely controlled the pace, and the fast break points were heavily in our favor in this one.
Yeah, 30 fast break points for your Portland Trailblazers, almost three times as many against Minnesota. What you saw on opening night in Minnesota in the final 9 minutes where the Blazers scored 2 field goals was they went cold from 3, which this team is going to be prone to doing. They're going to be prone to going cold from 3. When they have hot shooting nights, they're probably going to be one of the best teams in the league if they're shooting on a night where they shoot 40+% from 3. What happened against Minnesota is you go a little bit cold, but then also they were stopping them in transition. The Blazers were not able to get effective early offense against Minnesota, and they really struggled to generate clean looks, and it took them completely out of rhythm. And that's the reason why they struggled to score down the stretch. And today, they didn't really have to play in the half court anywhere near as much as they did against Minnesota. Some of it was they were doing a better job of looking ahead and getting out and running. I mean, Klingon, for example, just had a straight rim run and got a layup where he beat the other team down the floor. It felt like against Minnesota, there's maybe opportunities that they weren't being aggressive enough in taking. Today, they flew up the court. This is what it looks like to truly play at a fast pace. And this was the best I've seen the Blazers push the pace in a game since I can ever remember. They haven't always been the fastest-paced team under Nate McMillan, the Dame-led teams under Terry Stotts. They've never really been a fast-paced team since I can remember. This is what it's supposed to look like, where you got guys running up the floor, you're passing the ball ahead, but then also when when it's not just passing it up the head and beating the other team to the rim, all right, you're running drag screens, you're swinging the ball fast, you're attacking before the defense gets set. And I thought even when Golden State got back in this game, when they got back on defense, I thought Portland did a phenomenal job of attacking before they were able to truly set up their defense. I mean, Chris Murray had a wide-open two-handed dunk just on a play where they pushed the ball up fast enough and the Warriors weren't 100% matched up. Nobody accounted for Chris Murray. If you're walking the ball up the floor, defenses are going to be able to get set and account for who they're guarding. There was multiple times in this game where the Blazers just didn't allow Golden State to get set, and they had drives to the rim because of it, and they were able to get downhill. And then you couple that with them getting hot from 3 there in the second and third quarter, 41 points in the second quarter. Denny hits 4 threes in the first half. And then Tomani hit back-to-back transition threes, so it wasn't even just getting to the rim. They were getting open threes in transition and knocking them down. Sharp had one off a kick-out pass from Denny. You get hot from 3, and then you're able to get early offense where you get downhill, and that is the recipe for the Blazers having a great offensive night. You couple that with the defense, and that is the formula for this team being truly, truly competitive. Now, they're still going to have to work out kinks with their half-court offense when teams are doing a better job than Golden State did tonight in terms of stopping the early offense and getting back on defense. And when, that first quarter, when the Blazers got down 27-19, I had a tweet about this, but the offense just looked really ugly. They were kind of stuck in the half court and weren't really generating enough movement and generating good enough shots. It's funny, right after I tweet about that, they go on a huge run and people are like, "What are you talking about, idiot?" The half court offense they were playing in the first quarter did not look good. And then they started getting out and running, and it spurned everything. And then when you have Denny hitting shots in the half court, then your half court offense can survive. If it's stagnant, you need somebody to create something. That was Denny in that second quarter where he was absolutely phenomenal. So still have some kinks to work out with the half court offense, that is for sure. But this team is built to run. And one of the criticisms I think that goes with criticizing their half court offense is they play too much in their half court offense, especially last season where they were an average pace team. If they're able to play like a pace like this, then I'm not as worried about the half-court offense simply because they're not going to be playing in the half-court and slowing it down as much when they're running like this. So that's the recipe for an effective Blazers offense. Oh, my pop cover's sitting on the mic. You could just say it on the air. That's fine. That's the recipe for an effective Blazers offense. Let me turn down my mic a little bit if it's popping. Um, but yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the offense. If my
Yeah.
mic's too loud, feel free to say it on air. That's fine.
I just
I didn't turn it
was
up
going
or
to do it
anything.
slightly.
No, that's fine. I mean, if people are talking about it in chat, then it's not Sly already. So hopefully this will be better. I think this is hopefully better. Anyway,
Yeah, so even though the offense didn't generate a ton of points early in this game, the baskets we did get were from people cutting finally. And it was like, okay, this is more like what I expected to see more of. We had Klingon with a bounce pass. I think it was Klingon with a bounce pass to Denny
yep.
cutting down the middle. We had um, I think Tamani had at least one back cut early in this game, got an easy bucket, had several more throughout the game. But yeah, just it seemed like people were moving off ball a little more, just weren't settling for threes. But as the game went on, as we started to push the tempo, we did shoot a lot of threes. And just as a side note, real quick, uh, so one of Tiago Splitter's things that he really focuses on in terms of his offense when he was coaching um, last year was he wants everyone to shoot the open three. He wants them to just let it fly if you're open and shoot it. And he wants to push the pace to get to open threes and stuff like that. And it's not because he wants this team to like shoot a ton of like threes and shoot a poor percentage or whatever. But as you start to become a team that's known to shoot the three whenever you're in transition or really quickly, teams start to play out more. And once they start doing that, then that opens up a lot more backdoor cuts, a lot more other action you can do off of that. So the beginning part of it is just get used to pushing the pace, shooting quick threes. And then from there you work in, then you fake a three and throw a lob or drive to the basket or whatever. And so there's a lot of things we can do off of that, but really the whole point is just play super fast, super fast, super fast. And that does involve shooting a lot of threes. And he's not afraid to let people who aren't good shooters shoot it. And who knows? I mean, maybe that empowerment and just the playing that style, it makes you like not think as much when you're playing, it's just like get the ball up the court and shoot it, right? And so maybe that'll help some of these guys who have maybe struggled with confidence, like a Chris Murray. So hopefully that'll be the case moving forward. But we did put up a lot of threes, and if this team is actually hitting threes, they're really tough to beat. They're going to be tough to beat all season. The question long term is just, can they sustain a good enough 3-point percentage as a team to play that style and to make that style effective game in and game out? Tonight, obviously, was a check mark in the box of wow, this looks great. But if the threes aren't falling like last game, do you have a way to counteract that? That'll be interesting to watch as we kind of learn Splitter's coaching methods and things like that. If he can have an adjustment if the threes aren't falling, or if he's just going to say, oh, we didn't make shots after the game like other coaches have, But it was really fun watching him. It really reminded me of those games without Billups last year when Bjorkgren was the coach, and we seemed to just flow so much better. And it's a small sample size, so it could have just been that game. But we now have several games with when Billups isn't there, the offense looks a little bit more like what Billups has wanted the offense or said he wanted the offense to look like. So I don't know what to make of that. Hopefully it's sustainable and not just like a one night thing, but it sure does look like it flows a little better when there's a different coach in charge.
Yeah, yeah. maybe Chauncey's offense was finally ready to turn the corner, and he just didn't get the opportunity. Man, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to talk about that
Right.
until later in the stream. I know a lot of you
Mhm.
want us to talk about it, but I want to focus on this win first before talking about what is a scandal, to say the least. But also, does this sound better? Are we better with the mic here? I think it's better.
I, it sounded fine to me. I don't know how it's sounding over YouTube.
I mean, how you hear it is how YouTube hears it. So, um, but I think the key is, and the Blazers struggled with this last year. They try and get out and run, and then when they were initially stopped, they kind of backed it out and stood around and allowed defenses to get set. And I think you saw some of that in the first game against Minnesota, especially in the final 9 minutes, where if they weren't able to beat them down the floor, then they were stuck playing in the half court. But there's something called early offense where it's not necessarily a fast break where you're beating the other team down the floor, but it's not where you're setting up a half court possession, right? And I think today was the perfect example of good early offense from the Blazers where, yeah, they got a lot of fast break points. And I'm not sure what the line is between a fast break point and not a fast break point, right? But they did a lot of good stuff where even if they weren't able to beat Golden State down the floor, it was, a quick skip pass across the floor and then kicking it to the corner where Golden State's defense wasn't set and you were able to generate advantages, whether it was an open three or forcing them to close out hard and then attacking that early in the offense. You weren't letting them set up their defense and you were getting them caught scrambling a lot of times where guys were having to try and cover for other guys and they didn't exactly know where they were guarding, and it wasn't like it was a set defense where they could set up their rotations either, right? They're scrambling back on D. The drag screens, the screens they're setting, on the ball early in the offense, they got some good action off of that. But then also just when they, push it in transition, you initially get stopped. That's when you swing the ball. That's when you get the ball moving because a lot of defenses in transition, they want to run back to the paint and cover the ball. A lot of times they're not too worried about the other side of the floor. So when you're able to bring the ball up fast, get the defense kind of committing to the paint, committing to your side of the floor, and then skip it, that's when you're going to have space on the other side of the floor. I thought the Blazers did a good job of that, but I also think that's why you saw, some downhill drives is because you had Golden State's defense closing out hard, trying to cover that ground, cover that space. And then some of it was just, handoffs, turn the corner, right? They weren't set, so you took advantage of that. Chris Murray had a few nice drives. Denny at times, just really, really good early offense. And teams that play fast, that's what they do. And the Blazers hopefully are turning a corner there where they become, they go from a team that if they have a fast break, they take it, but if not, then they get stuck in the half court to they're just relentlessly attacking. Even if that first initial push in transition is stopped, they're swinging the ball. They're maintaining that pace coming down the floor in early offense.
Yeah, you mentioned the Chris Murray one where you make like a pass or two and then two guys go to the ball and you just give it to Chris Murray and no one's guarding him and he just drives right down, gets an easy basket.
Yeah.
There was also, I forget what the result of this play was, but there was a play in the first half where we got Jeremy Grant in the post against Steph Curry. So like it just creates mismatches because like someone has to pick up someone that they're not used to guarding, and then their whole defense is out of whack for the whole possession. And yeah, you can take advantage of that if you're a smart team and you know what to do and how to take advantage of those. And that is something that that's been a huge part of basketball throughout the NBA's existence, is just hunting mismatches and taking advantage of those. And that is one thing that I feel like the Blazers haven't done a great job of in recent years is like just trying to get like a small guy on a big guy and then take advantage of it. It's usually just pretty guard heavy, just try to get them a shot. But if you can just push the ball up and then you have like a guard guarding a big guy or vice versa, a big guy guarding one of your quicker guys, give it to that guy and take advantage of it and just exploit those mismatches.
Yep, absolutely. Let's get a player of the game poll going in chat because I think there's a couple different players that you could vote for this one, and then we'll
well-rounded game, man. Yeah, very well-rounded.
Yeah, and then we'll thank the donations here in a second too as well.
While you're doing that, I'm going to thank Chapel Perilous for gifting 5 Uprise memberships because I don't think those show up in the other feeds. So those went to Mount Hood, Alex R., Austin Wig, Augie, and Joe Davis.
Thank you, Chapel. Thank you, Chapel, for gifting the memberships. Congratulations.
And what's up, Austin? How you doing?
Got some. Player of the game poll, we got Denny. We got Jeremy again. He won on opening night. We need to keep track of a tally. I plan on doing that this season. Having a graphic tally sort of thing. But we got Denny. We got Jeremy. Tiago Splitter, player of the game. Tamani had a solid 19 points, 7 boards, 3 steals, was 7 for 13. His cutting was phenomenal in this game. You brought up the cutting. He had some great cuts, baseline cuts, cutting to the middle of the floor. I mean, there's a couple times the Blazers turned over the ball trying to get a pass through to somebody that made a great cut as well, which, it's like the process is good, just not executing, not finding a way to get that guy the ball. I'm okay with that, especially early in the season. You're going to have some of those turnovers. And when you're a team that moves the ball and tries to take cutters and that sort of thing, you're going to be a little bit more prone to turnovers than maybe playing in isolation all the time. But it's going to end up with better results, especially for the way this team is constructed. So great game from Tamani. Shaden Sharp, not going to put him in the poll. He was pretty inefficient today. I'll put Chris Murray in the poll. I think Chris Murray deserves a poll appearance, all right? He deserves an appearance in this poll. But
we had 8 players in double figures. That's going to win you a lot of games if you're that balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. And then let me thank the donation. Shout out to Muvsy with the $7 Canadian donation. I'm still waiting on his intro song for us. But he says, great.
It's supposed to be the first win.
Supposed to be the first win, but hopefully this weekend he can finish cooking for us. He says, great Blazers win. Love seeing the lads smile. Thank you, Muvsy. Appreciate you, brother. And then shout out to Pokemon with a 30, I don't know what that currency is, donation. And then the donation message was in a language that I can't read. So I'll just say thank you to Pokemon for the donation, the 30. Apologies for not being bilingual. I only know English, unfortunately. Shout out to Monopo Man. What's up with the $3.50 donation? Says Drew Holiday looking like a brilliant trade. Yeah, we haven't said his name yet, but his passing and playmaking, he had some fantastic passing in this game. A really nice feed. I forget who it was to. It might have been Tamani, but really nice kind of like look off pass to a player under the rim for a layup. I've really liked what I've seen from him so far, even if the offense isn't, the most efficient. He was 5 for 12 today, 2 for 4 from 3, 11 assists. 11 assists for Drew. I think he's fit in like a glove. Shout out to Medina, member for 20 months, says drop a like. Yes, hit the like button. I don't ask for likes much. You guys can reward me for not asking for likes by just leaving a like so I don't have to ask for likes. Shout out to Muvsy with another $7 Canadian donation. Says 500 in the live. Smash the like and the sub. And the sub for Muvsy. Shout out to, man, it's been a while since we've had a donation and member message run like this. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Pasty Zach, member for 41 months. Says it's only 2 games, but we've been good with the defensive rebounding. Yeah, 12 offensive boards for the Warriors tonight, but we just look more competitive on the boards. I really, really like the way we've been crashing the glass. Shout out to Antonio, member for 10 months, says Matisse with 3 other positive defenders is fun. Yeah, he had some good moments on Steph today, and I'll talk about what role I like Matisse in defensively on this lineup. It's probably not guarding guys like Steph Curry. I'll get into why. But he was fantastic tonight. Hit 2 threes, was 2 for 2 from 3. Hopefully he can keep shooting like he did last year, because if he can come in 15 minutes and give you 2 for 2 from 3 and 3 steals and a plus 22 in those 15 minutes, that's great off the bench. Shout out to Adir Shimshin, 15 donation, says, much love, Eric and Tori. Explain to me 2 things. How were the refs so biased with the challenges, and how Denny got 26 points in less than 30 minutes without any free throws?
Well, the second question is because he finally hit some threes tonight,
Yeah.
and that opened up his game a little bit, but didn't really have a chance to get his normal and one opportunities this game. He did have a couple of drives where he completely pushed someone off and got him off and got an easy basket, but yeah, didn't draw any fouls tonight. But I thought he shot the ball well, and just played under control. He did have a couple of bad turnovers, but when you're 11 of 18 from the field, you'll take those.
Yeah.
The other part, I mean, I don't know. It's weird where they call Jeremy for slightly moving out his leg, and then you have someone pump fake and then go completely out of his shooting range to draw contact, really, which is supposed to be. Remember when, like a couple of years ago, when they started calling that, or were going to start calling that, and then they just stopped doing that? Like they don't even call it anymore, really.
I'm getting increasingly pissed off at the way this league is reffed.
Yeah, it's one thing to get your defender up in the air and then draw the foul if he comes down on you, but if you have to move that far to draw contact, that's not a foul, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. They're not supposed to call that a foul, so I don't understand after review.
Especially if Jeremy's was a foul. Like, because he said in the explanation, he said that Steph didn't move left to right. Well, what?
He moved forward.
You can't. So you can move forward or back into the defender, but you can't move left to right. That doesn't make any sense.
Like, if your legs naturally sway forward, that's one thing, because that's what a lot of shooters do. But when you're leaning forward with your torso like 45 degrees and throwing your elbow out into the defender in an unnatural way, Steph doesn't shoot like that. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, Denny leads in the player of the game poll. Yeah, I don't understand the reffing. Shout out to Smog, $20 donation. Thank you, Smog. Appreciate you, brother. Says, the vibes are through the roof, and all it took was an FBI raid. That's all it took, man. We got rid of Olshey with a hostile work environment scandal, and Chauncey's gone with an FBI raid. And listen, I'm not rooting for that to be true. Like, that's not how I want things to go. But if I do think there's a chance that Tiago Splitter just ends up being a really good NBA coach. I'm just speculating. But
unlike when Chauncey was hired,
he's been highly regarded, and a lot of people said he was going to be an NBA coach at some point. So maybe we just accidentally stumbled into a really good head coach, Eric. Maybe we.
Did you hear what Sam Vecini said, or
no.
see what he said on Twitter?
All right, I think I might have. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, he basically said that he thought Chauncey was one of the worst, if not the worst, coach in the league, and that he had been studying Splitter last year on his team, and thought he was ready to be a head coach, and he thinks this is going to be a major improvement for us.
I mean, after one game, we scored 139 tonight and won by 20. We had go ahead.
I was just to say it's fun to talk about it because it happened that way, but obviously we need a bigger sample size.
Yeah, but that's what we always said about the Bjorkgren games last year. Was the team looked really good without Chauncey when he coached.
That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah,
but it was a small sample. Well, now we're going to get a bigger sample, and this actually kind of. I don't think Chauncey will coach another game in the NBA.
I don't think so either.
This lines up perfectly with the new owner coming in. You got a trial run for a year of Tiago Splitter, who could end up being a really good head coach. And then, if he's not a really good head coach, then Tom Dundon will hire his next head coach. That actually lines up timing-wise very, very well. But it's just crazy, there's back-to-back camera shots of Tiago Splitter head coaching the team, and then Dame, in street clothes on the bench. And it was just imagine, when they announced the Chauncey extension at the start of the offseason, imagine showing us this camera sequence of Tiago Splitter head coaching the team. Because Tiago Splitter, he wasn't an assistant yet. They brought him in in the middle of this offseason, right? Imagine showing us that camera sequence. Yeah, Thiago Splitter is head coaching the team, and Dame's on the bench.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, yeah. And
Did we trade for Giannis and like Dame at the same time?
yeah, exactly. Like, do we trade Chauncey for Dame? Like, nope. Chauncey got arrested for illegal gambling with ties to the mafia. Like, absolutely insane. And and that's you know, is what it is. And that's not even getting into the new ownership group. And like, yeah, thank goodness the Panda Express owners got the lawsuit dropped so we can move forward with this sale. Crazy stuff the last 6 months, man. It's always funny to look back and like imagine the past 6 months ago.
I made the joke yesterday that Tom Dundon saw Chauncey coach one game and got him out.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But it's just like new. It's new everything right now, man. And it's the only thing that's not new is Cronin. But I don't know. Like the past year, I haven't really had an issue with them. So I'm pretty happy with this game. Yeah. And Thiago, I think, is going to do great. So
another side note, I laugh every time I see someone say, "Oh, now with Billups gone, that's our last tie to Olshey. We're through with any ties we have." You do realize Cronin was here the whole time under Olshey, right?
Yeah.
Like he's the last tie to.
Yeah, true.
I'm not saying anything about the job he's doing. I'm just saying he's still part of the previous regime. Yeah. But anyways, so Jacob in chat said 100% the Billups situation lit a fire under the Blazers. Solid start to the Splitter era. If Billups is coaching, we'd probably lose this game. Now, who knows what that is? Like I said earlier, this was a scheduled great opportunity to beat a good team, in my opinion. Just with them going to overtime last night, having to travel, third game in 4 days. But I don't know. It's because the players are. I don't know if you heard Denny's pregame interview, but he was just like saying a bunch of stuff about how much he loved Billups and all this stuff. So it's going to be weird for the team because pretty much all the players like Billups, the organization like Billups. I mean, he was well thought of within the team. So I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna come out. So there's one of two things. That doesn't mean it can't light a fire, because that could absolutely rally the team and they could all bond around this and, you know, us against the world type attitude and just like, well, let's go out and get it done ourselves and Splitters, like you mentioned, is rising up the ranks and was considered a coaching candidate here in the next couple of years anyway. And he was brought in to run this offense. This is his offense, basically, that Chauncey was trying to mimic. Yeah. Chauncey said he specifically went to him in Europe to convince him to come be an assistant here to run the offense. And so, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for us to stumble into something that might work out really well for us. Now, it could still go the other way. There could just be an emotional high right now, and that, you know, it could get sour, and hopefully it doesn't. But I mean, it would be great if this team just rallied around what's happened and been like, well, us players in the locker room, you know, we know what to do. We know what Splitter wants of us because they've been learning it for 2 months now. And so I think this is just a great opportunity for all the players to step up and for a coach to show that maybe we found a long-term answer. A weird circumstance to find it, but I mean, hey, if we found it, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
there's one thing.
Go
Nick
ahead.
mentions this in chat. The use of timeouts was much better tonight. I thought he took some weird timeouts, man. Some like really unorthodox timeouts. Um, and in the future, you might have to worry about like burning timeouts to where you don't have any at the end of the close game. But I loved it, man. I loved it. Like the other team scores a basket, you take a timeout in between the two free throws and stuff like that, and like they don't execute a play on offense or something, you call a timeout right away.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like if you're trying to coach them up and you're trying to get them to play the way you want them to play, I don't think there's anything better than to like call a timeout as soon as you can and say, look, this needs to be done differently or whatever. And it seemed to work tonight. And like I said, hopefully in the future he doesn't burn them in a way where it costs us the game because we don't have a timeout at the end. But for right now, I mean, use your timeouts in a different. There's nothing saying you have to use your little index card and take a timeout, like only if the other team goes on an 8-0 run, and then you take a timeout in this situation only, and you have to save this timeout for the 4-minute TV timeout so you don't lose it or whatever. Like just freaking take them when you want to take them and tell the team what you want to tell them. I like it.
Yep, I agree. Before this gets buried, shout out to where was it? Can my computer be faster? Shout out to Rare Nathan for the 10 gifted subs. We're gifting a lot of subs. We love it. They went to Bryce Cook, Josh Jones, Wasabi, The Saddest Nation, Roman Barrett, Daniel G, and I don't think I can see who else it went to, but shout out to you guys. Shout out to Nathan. And then shout out to Mal, member 40 months, says, light work for our forwards. Yeah, our forwards are fun, man. Grant's fun off the bench is our third forward.
I love it, yeah.
This is a, he's still not worth 32 mil. I mean, unless he averages 25 off the bench or whatever he is so far,
These 2 games he's worth, if he averages this season, that's worth 32 mil.
Yeah. And then shout out to Blaze with a $5 donation, says, who knew that a federal indictment would motivate the Blazers? Let's hope Splitter can sustain this. Thank you, Blaze. Appreciate you. I'll say this. Vibes are down, but like if they start 10-4, they'll be fine. Yeah. Like it all comes down to how they play. And I don't think I think the Blazers would have won today with Chauncey. I think what you saw today is everything that they've been working on with Chauncey. So it's not like Thiago's changed everything in 48 hours.
Well, he even said that before the game. He said, like, I'm just going to implement what we've been doing in training camp and stuff.
Yeah, but it is interesting that, the first game he coaches and they, sustain this to a level that you didn't see in the preseason or game one. I do think that's interesting, but it takes time, right? So, and that's the thing, though. If they did not have this type of game and Chauncey was still the head coach and they struggled with that, everybody would be saying it takes time, it takes time. I mean, I was criticizing their offense in the first quarter and people were saying it takes time. And then all of a sudden, oh, look, no, it doesn't. Look at how they're playing. But here's the thing with, my criticisms of the offense. There's different facets of offense to evaluate. What you're running in the half court when the defense is set and you're running a set is different from what you're running in the half court when you're running a motion offense, which is different from your early offense, your transition offense, which is different from executing true fast break opportunities, right? So I think the area of concern with this roster is generally going to be the half-court motion and the half-court sets. I'm hopeful that with Thiago, I'm more hopeful with Thiago that he will be able to help them out in the half-court more so than Chauncey was able to. But what we saw tonight was just exceptional early offense and then guys making plays in the half court. It's different from a really well designed half court offense and then guys just simply making plays on their own. And and you saw some guys just make some plays on their own. Drew, I thought, did a great job setting the table for multiple guys. There was some good cutting, so give credit to the coaching staff there with some of the cuts that these guys made. But that's where it's not as simple as, and I might tweet the offense looks ugly, so I'm not really explaining in detail. This is why I like to just come on the postgame show and talk for 2 hours. But there's just different facets of offense to evaluate from game to game. So, next game might look completely different offensively if they're not able to get this early stuff, and they're going to have to find a way to score in the half court. They're playing the Clippers, who just blew out the Suns. So,
yeah.
But they just got blown out by the Jazz on opening night, so who knows how good they are.
Right. A lot of people are mentioning the rotations in chat too. This is the first game in a long time, and some of that helps when Chris Murray plays really well and Thibault has a good game and it's a plus 22. But there wasn't a lineup out there that I was like, what is he doing with this lineup? Like, we're gonna get cooked right now. There has been seemingly a lot under Billups. So I felt like his staggering of the lineups, it felt like, one of Tomani or Denny was always in the game. It felt like the other rotations were pretty good. Now, one thing we're going to have to talk about, I don't know if you want to do it here or not, is how they're using Jan Hansen. But the center rotation is the only thing that is a little tricky right now because they're only playing Young in the first half. He comes back in garbage time tonight, but Splitter said in his pregame that they had a plan set up for Young, and he's not going to deviate from that because he was obviously a part of that, and as a big man, he's been working with him a lot. So it's pretty clear after the first 2 games they want to get him some minutes early in games in the first half, but don't feel comfortable playing him in the second half of games yet when, we need to, it's winning time or whatever. Now, hopefully that'll change as the season progresses. But it's very clear to me the plan is get him some NBA minutes in the first half when you can maybe get away with it, and then don't play a backup center in the second half. They've gone small a lot at times. That might be against some teams you can get away with it. Tonight, obviously, we easily get away with it. But without Rob hopefully he comes back soon, because right now it feels like we don't have like a center they feel confident playing in the second half of games as a backup.
Yeah, he just doesn't look NBA ready. He doesn't look NBA ready. The defense is just rough. Like, he can't defend in space. Doesn't move well enough. Hopefully he does whatever Klingon did conditioning-wise this offseason, because Klingon looks like a completely different person, man. That dude's moving, like, more fluidly.
Only played 22 minutes tonight, but, was in foul trouble. That was part of the reason. Yeah. Played 30 first game, yeah.
We didn't talk about this last postgame show. I meant to. I'm starting to believe in the shot.
Are you?
He was 2 for 4 yesterday and 1 for 2 today, so it's 3 for 6. So great start, right? The one miss was bad, but like 2 of the 3 makes he's had this year, the one make he hit today was like quick kind of catch and shoot with a little bit of a contest, which is different from like a having all day to line it up and all the space in the world and not worrying about contest. The one he had near the end of the third quarter yesterday where he was turned, caught it, and turned into his shot, and even like swayed a little bit like a shooter. Watching it like close courtside because I was on the opposite baseline, I've never seen him like catch a pass from the side, go straight into his shot with like a little bit of a sway, and it was super fluid. In his release, he kind of had a little bit of a hitch last year. His release looks smoother. I'm starting to buy his jumper. We need more of a sample size. He was 5 for 5 from the free throw line today. That was pretty good. He's kind of struggled a little bit in preseason, but if he he got guarded out there on possessions today where I saw whoever was guarding him, like, guard him at the 3-point line when he was off the ball. There was a couple times where I was like, wow, we're not used to seeing that from a center. Like Klingon, Nurk, teams still wouldn't really worry about him out of the 3-point line, even when he was, shooting the ball okay for the 1 year he did. It was kind of surprising to me, and maybe that was just how they wanted to defend him because of whatever action or it was, or I don't know. But I'm starting to have hope he can be a true stretch five. I think the jumper looks good, and a couple of the makes he's had to start the season are makes that I haven't seen from him before. Like, every three I've seen him make before this is like he has the ball at the top of the arc, nobody's guarding him, and he has like 4 seconds to shoot, and he just kind of like lines it up and shoots it, and it looks kind of stiff. His shot looks his shot looks more fluid. So, and then a couple of the strong finishes he's had. He got the one today where he's battling underneath. Had one in the preseason where he just backed a guy down and was really strong. I like what I'm seeing from Klingon a lot. And then you look at how good of shape he's in. He's clearly in much better shape. Like, he's clearly capable of playing 30 minutes. He hasn't looked gassed once. He played 30 minutes opening night. He didn't look gassed to me at all. So he didn't have like the biggest game today, but 22 minutes, 14 points, 8 boards. That's very solid. So I'm very happy with Klingon so far.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say are those 2 shots, it's a little different when you catch the ball. There's a couple seconds on the shot clock and you have to let it fly, or, end of a quarter shooting it. Sometimes you just naturally shoot it a little bit more freely. But I do agree it looks a lot more solid. The hitch is gone. And I'll wait a little bit because he did have, I think he made a couple in his first couple games last year too. And we were like, oh, okay, maybe. But yeah, I mean, it definitely looks better than last year.
Yeah, well, the play I'm talking about is like before this season, I don't know if he could have looked coordinated at all, catching the ball from the side, going straight into his shot with a little bit of a sway to his jumper. Like, I feel like last year, if he tried to do that, it would have looked like an uncoordinated mess. I don't know, man. A lot of his jump shots last year just looked stiff. So I think he just looks more coordinated, just in general, not even just his 3-point shot. Like, just in general, he looks more coordinated. And I don't know if that's just because he's in better shape or just another year kind of growing into his body now he's 21 years old. He's a young 7'2" big, right?
Well, also like having a year where you learn what you need to get better at too. And he seems like a hard worker to get better at those things he needs to get better at.
Yeah, agreed. So really happy with that. What did you think of the defense today? Because they let Steph get going, but Steph only played 27 minutes. He had 35 points. So this is the second straight star guard that's kind of torched our defense. Doesn't really seem like they're able to cut off the head of the snake, so to say. They gave up some open threes in this game. At the end of the day, they forced a ton of turnovers, though. So what do you kind of make of the defense 2 games into the season where they let Anthony Edwards get 41 last game and then Steph Curry 35 in 27 minutes tonight?
I think the defense has been really good outside a glaring weakness, and it's going to continue to rear its ugly head against teams like the last 2 we've played. And that's when we have the centers in the game, we are dropping way too far off the pick and roll. And I mean, we did it all last year. You can't do it against Steph, man. You cannot run drop against Steph without being up a little further than you normally would. In the second half, it did seem like Klingon was playing up a little further, but it's still like Curry still got a shot off over him. He still had enough space to do that. Yeah. So that's something that's going to clean up. I was actually, during this game, I was like, okay, Steph's going off. He's getting all kinds of space on any pick he gets. I want to see if Thiago adjusts at halftime or whatnot. Now, he barely plays in the second half, so who knows? Like I said, there was that one play where Klingon came out on him. He still got the shot off anyway, but it looked like they were trying to play it a little bit more higher up on the drop instead of so far back. But that's something that they need to. I don't know if it's as simple as, once we have Rob Will, he can maybe head some screens or trap or something that the other bigs might not be quick enough to do. But there's going to have to be some way we can play some sort of defense other than drop scheme when we have our big men in the game. And that if they can't fix that, I think they're going to have trouble being a truly elite defense throughout the course of the year. But they're pretty good even with that weakness. So it's been solid. I just think they're going to have to shore that up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. It's the only way you can drop that far is if you have guys that are fighting through screens at an exceptional level, and that's hard for even Tamani Kamara to do, right? And that it takes a lot of energy. And even against Anthony Edwards in game one, flying through the screen, you still get stuck on their hip, and Anthony Edwards was doing a good job of taking advantage of that, slowing down the game, like turning the corner, keeping the defender on his back, and making plays. And then Steph can do that as well, but Steph will, any little bit of space getting off a three, or he's, sidestepping, pump faking, and the defender's flying past him, and then he's shooting an open three. Like, it's just really, really tough. So I think hopefully Thiago will be a little bit more creative with his defense when going against somebody like Steph. There's certain players you can play drop against, and there's certain players, honestly, where they may be able to take advantage of drop, but I'm willing to live with it because our drop scheme has been good with the personnel that we have, but Steph Curry's not one of those players at all. So it depends on matchups. It depends on situation, of course. But yeah.
And then the other thing, this is more like overall, not just defense, but I watched the end of that Denver Golden State game last night, and it was just like star players going toe to toe. I guess Aaron Gordon was hitting a bunch of big shots, had 50 points, but Curry was making insane shots at the end, and then thinking back to the game on Wednesday night where Anthony Edwards makes all the shots at the end. I think that's the other weakness rearing its head right now. So got to blow teams out like we did tonight, because if this was like a close game and Curry's playing in the fourth quarter, I feel like we don't have anyone that can match him shot for shot like Denver almost did last night. Someone could step up, and throughout the season, maybe someone becomes that player, but I think we're going to struggle in close games against a team that has a really good clutch shot maker like Steph if it's a close game. So you gotta jump on teams and put them away when you can. Use your defense to not let them get back in the game. So we did a good job of that tonight. Last game, got up 7-8 points every time, and then let them come back instead of putting the game away, and it came back to cost us the game. So I'm a little worried about playing good teams that have a star player if in close games.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, Troy Cunningham, for the $2 donation. I appreciate that you donated and that you stopped spamming the chat. Thank you for that. Shout out to Denny Avdia. He's going to win the Player of the Game poll with 69% of the vote. And the next closest was Tamani Kamara at 12. So Denny runs away with it. Early in the season, 2 games in, he's averaging 23 points per game and doing it pretty efficiently. I think today he was 11 for 18 from the field, 4 for 6 from the three-point line. Last game he struggled shooting the three, but was good inside the arc, got to the free throw line a lot. He didn't really get a call in this game. I thought there was a couple opportunities for him to get calls. Also had 6 assists. This is, and it was only in 29 minutes. This was the star level Denny Avdia that we're hoping to see consistently this season, especially when you look at the way he started the last two seasons where he struggled and then took off later in the season. I made it a talking point coming into this year. Is he going to start the year hot like he finished last season, or is it going to be another year like the past two seasons where he starts slow and then picks up later on? I think 2 games in, he's silenced any worry about that he could in 2 games, averaging 23 a game, scoring 26 in 29 minutes, 11 for 18 from the field. Some of the threes he hit in this game were phenomenal. He did have some sloppy moments, but I've always said this about Denny. If he's being super aggressive and like I'll live with 3 turnovers a game in 29 minutes if he's having games like this where he's making a ton happen, where he has 6 assists, creating some offense for others, scoring the ball efficiently at a really high level and a high volume, then I can live with a sloppy mistake here and there. He plays sped up. He's best when he's playing fast, and there's just the downside of some bad turnovers. He had a bad turnover where he was playing fast and tried to kick the ball back to Jeremy Grant, which would have been an open 3, but because he was playing so fast, the pass was off, right? I'll live with that. I'll absolutely live with that. I'd rather him play that way than to be passive. So 20 points at half. Didn't really do much in the second half, but it wasn't like he was making mistakes. Just other guys were making plays, and that's just the beauty of this team. But he's I think the true test for like, okay, can he be a star level guy will be, can he take over a close game late in the fourth quarter? You just talked about it with, Anthony Edwards, and if this game was close, like you trust Steph Curry to do that against us. Can Denny be that guy at all against other teams where he's able to, put the offense on his back a little bit, and whether it's a shot for himself or creating for somebody else, like able to generate crunch time buckets in the half court? I think that's the major question. Because right now it doesn't look like that. Right now it doesn't look like that guy's going to be Shaedon Sharpe unless he turns a corner real soon, because he's had a real rough start to his season the first couple of games, and he's not really getting downhill. He's not finishing at the rim like he did last year, and 1 for 6 from 3 today, settled for some jumpers. We'll talk a little bit about it, but can Denny be that guy is the question moving forward, because I think he can definitely average 20 a game, 22 a game, but there's a difference between that and being like a offense generator against a tough defense in crunch time when the refs are swallowing their whistles a little bit more, and it's time to go make something happen.
Yeah. Hopefully Denny can be that guy. Hopefully Sharp has just had 2 bad shooting games as well and can be that guy. We know Grant can have moments too. So I think there's 3 guys. Holiday is a solid veteran. He can make a play too. So we have some guys who can make a play. I just don't know if we have the guy that can consistently do it. Yeah. And hopefully one of them turns into it.
Robbie Freimeyer, $5 donation. Thank you. Says, I'm glad I got to give you a fist bump on opening night. Tori Go Blazers. That was you? I didn't know who that was. That's sick. What's up, man?
You didn't even say his name?
No, we were just passing each other in the concourse. I was looking for there's like a Hawaiian nachos place that has like Kahlua pig nachos that have like pineapple and pineapple sauce, and it's actually really good. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's fire. It's fire. Mm-hmm. I walked around the concourse. It was like 2 sections down one way, and I started walking the other way and had to walk all the way around the arena until I got to it like 2 sections away. So that sucked. But, so walking around saw Robbie, which was cool. But yeah, I didn't know because I just passed him. But yeah, it was cool. I was searching for my nachos, man. Do you guys know what nachos I'm talking about? Let me know if you've tried them in the chat. They're really good. They're really good. What do you think about Sharpe right now?
And he's struggling. It's so weird, Tori. It's like there's times he's open and it looks like he's scared to shoot the ball, like he lost all confidence. And then he gets the ball the next play and he's guarded tightly and takes like a horrible shot, like he thinks he's Steph Curry, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Like it's not. I know he's probably like trying to tell himself to stay aggressive even when he misses a shot. Um, but man, I hope it's just a bad shooting start. And we saw Denny get off to a horrible start last year. It happens. Like Dame, CJ, Anthony, all three of our guards in recent years have gotten off to bad starts at different points of the season, or at different points, or different seasons. But yeah, so hopefully it just was in his head, trying to press a little bit, trying to do too much, trying to live up to his contract or whatever the case may be. But man, I don't really. I feel like he is competing on defense. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was effort wise last season. So I'm not worried about him like as a player. I just hope really quickly that he starts to show some of that potential that he has.
It feels like he's not really reading defenses right now. It kind of goes to your
Mm-hmm.
point about like some of the shot selection stuff, but just some of the passes that he's missing. He just seems unsure of what to do, no matter the
Mm-hmm.
situation, and sometimes it results in contested three. Sometimes it results in him not shooting when maybe he should. He's just struggling with his decision making all around right now. And you look great in preseason, but it's different in the regular season when you're guarded by the best defender on the opposing team and you're a big part of the opposing defense's game plan. So I don't know what to make of him. It's not contract year anymore, but if this is kind of how he is this season, he doesn't really take a step forward from last year, it's going to start to be hard to believe in him becoming like a go-to guy, because he's not really getting to spots that I like right now, and he's
Mm-hmm.
not playing with a lot of like strength off the bounce. We talked about the lower body strength and him falling down on drives last game, but he either has to shoot the ball at a high level, which he's not, or he has to be even stronger as a driver. And I mean, last year we saw him be an absolutely elite finisher, but it's not like he's the quickest guy or the shiftiest guy. He kind of relies on his length
What
and athleticism compared to just like blowing by guys. I don't really know what level that translates to in terms of him being a star. That's why I would like to do more for him off the ball and use his athleticism and see how he can produce offensively in that way. But in terms of like giving him the ball right now and him and going and making stuff happen, it's hard to have it's hard to have like a ton of faith. So just hopefully he shoots better, man, because he's 3 for 9 opening night and then 1 for 6, so he's 4 for 15.
15, yeah.
That's like 30%, 28%. A lot of his shot selection. The most open three he got today, he made. The cleanest three he got today, he made. It was in the corner. It was on that transition. He got an open corner three, and he made it.
He did miss a wide open one at the top of the key, too. But
yeah. But, like, if he shoots more of those, he'd probably be fine. But he needs to be able to make tough threes if he's going to be a star.
He did have that freaking sweet under the basket move, but then he like didn't get it high enough off the glass. And you know what play I'm talking about, where he went under the hoop and like double clutched? You're muted, I think.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to remember the play you're talking about.
So he it was in the first half. He was driving from like the top of the TV screen and like split two defenders at the rim, double clutch, went under the rim and tried to reverse lay in, but he missed it. That was a shot he was making last year. But
yeah, like the finishing, he's missed some layups that he made last year, which hurts. But Here's the thing with like the star talk. Stars hit tough shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like Anthony Edwards yesterday had a couple like tough threes, man, like really impressive threes. Steph, hits some tough shots. Like our best tough shot maker so far this season is Jeremy Grant. Grant, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which like he's obviously not a star, but like that's the thing with Shea is it doesn't really feel like he makes tough shots. And that's maybe a question with like Denny too is even when a defender plays great defense, can you still score over them? Like, can you still hit tough shots over them? And it doesn't feel like Sharp's quite ready to be that guy that can punish good defenders playing great defense. Anthony Edwards can. He's a superstar for that reason. Steph Curry can. He's a superstar for that reason, right? Damian Lillard can. Like Damian Lillard definitely could. Just look at Game 5 of the first round when he was playing Denver and had that 55-point game. He hit more tough shots in that game than I think Sharp has maybe made in his entire career. Like Sharp's had some tough lay-ins, but just in terms of like jump shooting at least. So can Sharp become a gifted enough scorer where he can make tough shots on good defense? Because if a defender plays good defense, you're not necessarily going to get easy shots. But this is what we talk about, like stars win games because they hit shots that you literally can't defend. And it just doesn't feel like Sharp's particularly close to doing that yet.
To be fair, not that Anthony Edwards hasn't hit tough shots his whole career, but the 3-point shot from him has only been the last season and this year. Like, this year's just starting, but like he didn't shoot like great from 3 until he started shooting a ton last year. But and that was his 5th season. Sharp's in his 4th season. It's not like completely over for him, but I do agree he needs to start showing some of that. Yeah. But I do feel like part of the reason I was excited about this free-flowing offense they were talking about, I felt like it should get him some opportunities going. They talked about this in the broadcast, like the Denny play we talked about where Klingon throws the bounce pass to Denny driving or cutting down the lane, and you're catching the ball already with a full steam going to the hoop. And almost all of Sharp's possessions that I can remember so far in the 2 games are him just like getting the ball up top and then having to make a play or something. I'm not seeing much where he's getting the ball in like a good position, already moving towards the hoop or anything, or making a good cut or something like that. And maybe that's just something he needs to learn. But maybe they should be like calling some sort of specific action for him to get the ball in those situations. But I feel like they should do something, and maybe Splitter will do this next game. Just try to get him a couple of easy buckets going to the basket early in a game, and then maybe that'll help him out throughout the game. But it feels like he's just taking tough shots like right off the bat, yeah. And then he's not making them, so then he gets down, and then that affects the next shot he takes, and then all of a sudden he's 2 for 10 or whatever he's been the last 2 games, and then he's got to kind of scratch his way back to being respectable. And I just don't know if he's ready for that yet.
I agree with everything you say. I think everything you're talking about is a different conversation from like the can you be the number one guy that in crunch time can like will our offense to wins.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because like those guys they get the ball up top, set defense, and they just find a way to do something, to make something happen. Mm-hmm. So if he can be that secondary guy, like 20 points a game, where he plays in the flow, I think that's an okay outcome too. If he's that guy, in general, it'll help him no matter how good he is at breaking down defenses off the dribble. If he becomes an isolation god, even if he becomes a top 10 player in the league, it would help him to try and cut a little bit more, to stampede when the ball is swung to him, to like run into that catch and get going downhill a little bit more compared to catching and standing with it. Like there's off-ball stuff that he could do better no matter how good of an on-ball offensive player he becomes. That will just make the game easier for him and allow him to get to spots and make plays in general. So it's only game 2. I see a lot of people in chat. It's only game 2. It's only game 2. While I agree, it's something that we need to see this year. It's something we need to see this year, and I haven't really seen the flashes I want to see the first 2 games. So hopefully he kind of turns it around. And listen, he could have a 33-point game where he, makes some threes and has a hot shooting night and, drives off a couple screens, attacks a closeout, gets a bucket in transition, has like a big scoring game that way, where people will say, see, look, he's becoming a star. Even if he has a big game, that doesn't necessarily show like he's becoming the guy that you can just give the ball to and he's going to generate offense and can carry your offense as an on-ball scorer against set defenses in isolation, etc. Right? Because that's just a different level. Aaron Gordon had 50 last night, So that's what I'm looking for from Sharp. It's not necessarily like I need to see him score 30 every other game. I need to see him average 23, 24 points per game. It's not even really about the stats. It's about him, when the ball's in his hands, being able to, if he has the 3, consistently knock down that 3. If he, and then if he does that, being able to consistently attack his defender, turn the corner, finish around the rim, like just generate offense with the ball in his hands at a consistent, productive level. Because that's always been the talk with him, is consistency too, and like killer instinct and all that sort of stuff. He's taking a lot of shots right now. It's not really a problem with him not taking a lot of shots. It's just him not making a lot of shots and him not getting to good spots around the rim. Like he's not getting easy shots around the rim because he's not really beating guys to the rim right now. So
at least he got to the free throw line tonight, made his free throws, so he scores more points than shots. It's always okay. I mean, you want it to be better, but at least he didn't shoot like 20 times and only score 17 points,
Yep. But I do like him getting to the free throw line.
You mentioned the off-ball action. The other thing that does is like your defender has to like think about that. Is he going to cut or whatever? So even if the next time he just goes up and gets a dribble handoff or something up top, he's like, the defender might be a half second to a second behind him. And then that second is enough to maybe turn a corner you're not getting to turn right now, or, you're getting a step on the defender to where he's getting back on his heels, and then you can pull up for your mid-range and you just have that little bit more space to create, because he's not like blowing by anyone off his like isolation moves. So that is something else that can, it's kind of like what we talked about with pushing the pace. Like if the defense is always kind of confused onto what we're doing or what we're going to do or where he's going to go, it makes it a lot easier to get those downhill opportunities.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we had a couple more chats if you want to read those off real quick.
Yeah, shout out to Trader Boggs for becoming a starter level member. Thank you, Trader Boggs. Welcome to the Uprise Cult. Shout out to Priest. $2 donation says, new nickname for Blazers, the Rose City Mafia. Yeah, we'll talk about Chauncey here in about 10 minutes. We'll finish recapping this game. Shout out to Troy Cunningham, $5 donation says, my bad, I'm new to this. I wasn't trying to spam. I honestly just wanted to know what you think about Scoot contributing. Thank you for the donation. Yeah, so I think with the offense playing at this pace, Eric, I think Scoot will thrive. I think the offense you saw tonight, I can picture Scoot just being fantastic in it. And then if he can also knock down threes at like 36%, I think what they're trying to do, Scoot's going to fit in beautifully, and I think he's going to really contribute off the bench.
Yeah. I feel like if Scoot's going to take that jump and have a breakout season, I do feel like this offense is the most ideal offense for him to do that.
Yeah.
Not to say he can't in another offense. I'm just saying, like, I feel like what they're trying to run is perfect for what his skill set is. And hopefully he just is able to get conditioned fast once his um, injuries healed, and then we can see what he can do when he's pushing the pace. Like, just imagining him in the Blake Wesley role right now, just having a much better player in that spot.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about like Sharp looked really good in preseason or in the starting job, I think, because of preseason. But if he continues to struggle, okay, I know it's just 2 games, but if he continues to struggle and Scoot comes back, I almost wonder if there's an opportunity for Scoot to win that starting job. If he plays well enough when he returns. He's not going to start right away,
Mhm.
but I think there is a world where he might outplay Sharp, especially in this offense with the pace this offense is at and all the hard work he reportedly put in this offseason. Had a great offseason, great summer. And I mean, when you saw him play under a coach not named Chauncey Billups last year, Nate Bjorkgren, he had his best moments, right? So maybe there might be some truth to Chauncey holding him back, like some people like to claim. I don't really know if that's true or not, beyond just like the role and stuff, which I think it's going to be similar under Tiago. So I don't think that's at least to start. So I don't think that's going to change. But I wonder if this could be a conversation later in the season, if depending on when Scoot comes back and depending on how Sharp's playing.
Yeah, it most definitely could. You have to wonder if they want that energy off the bench or not, because maybe they're worried about losing Sharp uh, if he goes to a bench role for the second straight season. But I don't. There's definitely scenarios where the way Sharp's playing, Scoot could outplay him.
I would not. I don't think they would worry about losing Sharp. Sharp got paid. Number one.
Mm.
Number two, he's kind of carefree anyway. He responded decently well to being benched last season, so I think I think the one thing with the starting lineup is you're putting a lot on Drew to create, and he's looked really good in that regard the first 2 games. But would it be better to have somebody more well rounded, maybe a better shooter, um, more point guard like with Scoot? I would love to have that debate because I mean Scoot would be healthy. It sucks that he's not healthy for this, but I do think he will definitely contribute once he's back. No matter if it's off the bench or starting.
Yeah.
This pace is built for him. Chris Murray today, really good defensive game, 13 points. I will say, even though his like robotic drives to the rim aren't the most impressive thing, he makes them work surprisingly consistently. Like, dude, he drives across the paint where it's like he's not even trying to beat his defender off the dribble. He's just trying to like dribble close enough to the basket so he can just kind of flick it up with his left hand and it goes in.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like I don't know
It's,
what you call that.
it's such a college move, like,
Yeah,
and he's getting away with it in the NBA. It's weird.
it is weird.
But I I thought he had some awesome recognitions on defense
Yeah,
where uh, he noticed a cut or
yeah.
anticipated a pass or whatever, and man, he was all over. Like, if you didn't see his face, you might have confused him with Matisse and that the way he was reading those passing lanes today.
Yeah. Yeah, it was impressive. He finished 6 for 7 from the field, 1 for 1 from three, which was a open. It was like slightly contested, but he passed up an open three
Mm.
right before he took the one that he made.
Yeah,
But he hit it, had a couple of steals. when Scoot's back, I wonder who's gonna play. I mean, he played more than Thibault in this game, so Chris Murray might be the eighth man when Scoot's back. Well, I guess you'd have a center when Robert Williams is back. So,
I mean, it's obviously Blake Wesley plays 20 minutes. There's 20 minutes for Scoot right there, but I'm not saying Scoot should only play 20 minutes, but that's part of it.
But like when Rob Will's back, I don't know if they're going to go small as much. I think the small ball lineups have actually looked pretty well. It was something I wanted to see this year. It plays into the style of play the Blazers try and play. But, when Robert Williams is back, is he getting like the 15 minutes that go to Thibault, right? And then Scoot's getting Wesley's 20 minutes a game like this. And then, Chris played 27, but you look at like Avdia played 29. Sharp only played 25. Like, I think they might go 10-man rotation, and if they go 10-man rotation when healthy, I think the bench would be Scoot, Jeremy, Robert Williams, Thibault, and Chris Murray. If they go 9-man rotation, is it going to be Chris Murray or is it going to be Matisse Thibault? Is the question.
I don't know. Maybe they just don't play Rob Will at all.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. The rotation is going to be very interesting because you have Matisse, who's played good to start the season. You have Chris Murray, who's played well to start the season. Blake Wesley, man. I mean, he had 4 assists. I know he plays really hard. He just, I don't think with Scoot he has any role on this team other than an insurance point guard in case somebody gets hurt or you have ridiculous foul trouble. Which is fine. They signed him as the 15th guy on the roster, so they've already made good dividends on that signing. Just the lack of a shot. He's short on all his jumpers. It's
if he just refused to shoot anything but open lanes, I think he'd be fine.
Even tough. He's made some tough lanes.
Yeah.
He had that tough up and under after he missed a 3 so bad front rim it came back to him, and then he had that super tough left-hand finish. If he could shoot,
almost more like luck than
skill. If he could shoot, he would probably be a fringe rotation player on a team. Right now, he is a rotation player on this team because of the injuries, but when healthy, Scoot is going to take up all those minutes. Shout out to Ty the Millennial for becoming a superstar member. Not a starter, not an all-star, a superstar. Thank you, Ty. Appreciate you, man.
Nice.
And, that's pretty much everybody from this game. Is there anybody else you wanted to touch upon here?
No, I think we talked about everyone.
Alrighty, let's talk about the scandal from yesterday.
Wow. That was crazy.
How'd you find out? That's what I want to know, number one.
So I woke up, was getting ready for work, and I was on my phone. And then took a shower and stuff, and then I hear a text message, and usually if I get a text that early, it's work or something related. Yeah. And so I was like, oh God, who's texting me from work, Yes. And so I check my phone, and it's Carson. It was a group text between you, me, and Carson, and he's saying that Chauncey got arrested. I was like, what? Because I started reading the tweet. It was Chauncey Billups. I was like, there's no way we fired him, right? And yeah. I'm
laughing just the situation itself isn't funny. I'm just laughing because it's absurd. This is such a absurd thing. It's so absurd. I'm sure you saw my tweet. I got woken up and was told that Chauncey was arrested for a illegal gambling operation with ties to the mafia. And it was just I literally thought I was going insane. Because how do you wake up to being told that? I was still half asleep. Mafia?
At
Chauncey arrested? And then I'm like, damn, it's 6:45 in the morning. Like, do I have enough energy to go live for this? No. I'm not going live at 6:45 in the morning. I look at my phone. Go live, go live, go live. Like, damn, it's 6:45 in the morning. Yeah, I start looking into it, and it's just insane situation. Yeah.
Yeah, so like from that point, I kept checking my phone, and like every time I did, you'd find out like a little more details of what's happening. I watched the FBI press conference and
God.
all that stuff. But so at first, I was like, okay, there's no way he's going down for this. All he has to do is claim that he had no idea they were rigged and he was just playing poker, and they'd have to have some pretty freaking strong physical evidence that he knew.
Yeah.
And then more and more came out, and then all of a sudden he got linked to the other thing, like because they were saying like all morning, he's just part of the gambling, the poker part. He wasn't part of this other thing, but then it comes out there's this co-conspirator that's not named in the other one, and that it's a person who played from these dates in the NBA and now coaches in Oregon. Like, who the heck else could that be? There's
Yeah.
no one who matches that other than Chauncey.
Yeah.
And then it's talking about how he informed this mafia dude how about how we were gonna sit out players before we even announced that those players were going to be out, and then we just happened to lose that game by 28 points or something like that to the Bulls. Um, yeah, very very interesting. But man, then later on, I see these videos. One's from 2 years ago about some Reddit thread that Chauncey Billups is like very into poker, and all his games are rigged and stuff, and that he's taking people's money, and that there was this one guy who said he is like a poker pro that got. Did you see this video?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a poker pro who said he got invited to several of these games, and they kept saying, "Oh, it's Chauncey's there, it's legit," and then he like refused to go because he said there was no way it was legit, and then he said he had a couple of friends that ended up going, and they were betting like hundreds of thousands of dollars on like a gut shot straight draw and like hitting it every time, and like there's no way these people would win money in a poker game, not having any clue what they're doing, if they didn't know it was what was coming. And so but that spanned back to like 2018. This guy was saying that he was starting to get invited to these Chauncey Billups games or poker games, and I kept thinking back. It's like, okay, so maybe at some point Chauncey was the fish, not the rigger, of the poker games, and so maybe he lost a bunch of money, and then it spirals to where they're like, oh, you owe us all this money, and he's not gonna like pay them $1 million out of his bank account because that looks suspicious or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe they started making him do favors for them, and then it spirals out of control to where you're a part of it. So I was thinking like maybe he could pull a Gilbert Arenas and become a snitch informant and get out of it that way. But when it got tied to the other one, dude, there's no way he's gonna ever be welcome back in the NBA again. And then when it comes out that all these people knew that he was hosting these dirty poker games for years and stuff, there's no coming back from this for him. And I don't understand how someone who not only had a lengthy playing career, but now has, he could be a TV commentator analysis. He could be a coach like he was and make millions of dollars. Why you would resort to having to rig poker games to make extra money? Like it always ceases to amaze me how, or it never ceases to amaze me how some of these people get involved with stuff when they seemingly have everything in life that they need.
Yeah, I just don't understand it from that angle. I don't understand why you'd risk throwing your life away for something that you don't need. I understand like the competitive aspect of like playing poker and betting high amounts, but yeah, almost to your point, like did he get involved in a way where he owed some money and then that's how he made it back? But if this has been going on for years and years and years, it doesn't really seem like that, number one. And then the information and giving it to, giving away inside information is like banned from the league worthy. The league does not put up with that for good reason, right? So that's what might do them in more than anything with the NBA.
I like playing poker. I'm sure it's a huge adrenaline rush to play for big money. I mean, I've played in like tournaments with my friends where we each put in $5 and I still get like intense with that, like, so I can't imagine with like playing at a table with like millions of dollars on the table and stuff like that. But so like Aeromancer mentions gambling addictions. To me, it's like we talked about this before when we do like the Would You Rather streams or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like if you could guarantee the Blazers win a championship next year, would you do this or whatever? And my answer is always no, because I feel like the championship wouldn't be meaningful to me, because I would know that they only won the championship because I got a wish that they could, and that's not. I mean, yes, it'd be good that they won, but like it wouldn't, like they only won because I did something to make them win, right? And so, to me, playing poker, it's one thing to be addicted to it and to love the thrill of playing in a game, especially a high stakes money wise game. But if you're rigging it to where you win and or like you get paid for losing to a certain hand or something to someone or whatever they're doing, that's not. I don't see how that's gambling addiction. That's something else in my mind. That's how are you getting adrenaline off of just like knowing you're going to make money off of this poker game no matter what happens when you're playing?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get into this aspect of things because we got a comment from Arrow, who's our mod, saying gambling bad. If you gamble responsibly and you enjoy it and you have fun, it's not bad. It's all about how you do things, right? It's the same thing with alcohol. If you abuse alcohol and you let it ruin your life and you become addicted and this and that, yeah, that's really freaking bad. Like, you should not abuse alcohol, all right? Same thing with gambling, right? In moderation, like you can afford it, you want to have some fun, you want to root for a team on a game or want to pick a parlay, put together a parlay so you can enjoy that night's action and you're okay with losing the money, like more power to you. Like I find that fun. I like putting together, a $10 parlay to win $150, then rooting for it, and then if it loses, like okay, that was $10 I could have went and spent on some junk food that I would have consumed anyway and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so it's funny because scandals like this happen and then people are getting on the NBA for they promote gambling. What do they expect? There's a difference between promoting gambling to people that watch sports, promoting like, DraftKings or Sleeper or whatever to people who watch sports, fans, compared to people who participate in those sports undermining the integrity of those sports with gambling. Like, that's fraud. That's fraud. That's a completely different thing. And the inability for some people to, like, separate those two things is just baffling to me. So I dropped a video on Chauncey Billups yesterday, and I ended it with a Sleeper ad because Sleeper is the sponsor across all content for the entire channel, or the presenting sponsor of the channel, right? And a lot of people found it, like, funny, ironic on that type of video to end it with the Sleeper ad. But I think like a big reason was I wanted to see how people reacted to that and see how people like equated me doing a sleeper sponsorship to like what Chauncey did, giving away information, like confidential information, so that people can undermine these lines. It's completely different things. It's completely different things. And I know that some people don't like, legalized sports betting. You're entitled to your opinion. If anything, I feel like this stuff gets caught more because you have regulation and because you have companies that watch this sort of stuff that look for irregularities. Apparently with the Terry Rozier thing, it was caught right away, and the NBA might have tried to sweep it under the rug. That is what I would have a problem with, is the NBA trying to sweep it under the rug, because you literally have systems in place to catch any irregularities because sports gambling is regulated. If you go back to the days where it's not regulated and it's all under the table and all, behind closed doors, you're probably not catching this sort of stuff. So that is actually a positive with it being legalized, is it's regulated and monitored and you're able to find stuff like that. But as far as Chauncey goes, rigging poker games, that's not even sports betting. That's something completely different, number one. And then the information thing, like, it's funny to me that people don't think the NBA can view a fan and consumer betting on the game differently than somebody that's actually coaching the game or participating in the game. There's two separate standards, obviously, for that. And it just boggles my mind how some people struggle to see that.
Yeah, because like back in the day before it became kind of normalized, it would have been so much easier for Chauncey to like get away with this stuff. Like, I don't think he would have gotten caught like 10 years ago or longer.
Yep.
And now, you have stuff to where anything that shows some irregularity gets flagged and investigated by these gambling sites because they don't want to get taken, and they provide that information to these leagues. Now, like you mentioned, Adam Silver did have an interview on Amazon Prime's Boston. Who did they play? The Knicks game tonight, and he got asked that question, and Windhorse came out and said that Terry Rozier wasn't really hurt, wink, wink, the rest of that season. He was actually told by the NBA to just go away for a while. And so, like, people didn't know about it. Now, if leagues or teams or whatever like hide it and try to deceive you from knowing that something happened, that's where I think it becomes bad again. But if these things happen to where they get caught and the NBA, they acted pretty quickly with the Jonte Porter stuff. I'm not sure why they let Rozier play last season knowing that this happened before, but and it's still relatively new, so maybe they're just trying to figure stuff out, how to handle stuff that are accusations and not proven yet or anything. But the whole like Jonte Porter thing where he's like a role player that barely plays and he's getting like all this action on his over unders, like that kind of stuff will get caught now. And I feel like it is set up to where stuff like that, you can't get away with it as much, even though it seems weird because anyone can gamble on it.
Yeah. There's a couple of comments in chat I want to read. There was one comment about like it's going to be the downfall of the NBA because players are going to get into it more. Players easily were able to get into it 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and able to get away with it more potentially back then. So if the league's still going, I do not agree with your take.
The thing about that is,
yeah,
because Chauncey's involved with the mafia, right?
Yeah,
that's not it's not like he was involved with FanDuel or something,
Yeah.
like and making money for FanDuel.
Yeah.
Like he was involved with the mafia. And what do you think used to happen before all these sites came up? You used to have bookies and stuff, and then so the fact that the gambling, the poker thing is traced now back to 2018 for Chauncey, probably started much before that. That's
Yeah.
just what we know so far after a day and a half of learning about this. And so like back when he was a player, he probably got involved with some stuff. Like you might have to look into some of his playing career now and things like that. But so this is where it gets bad, is when it's like involving a bookie and the mafia, and then you're having to do favors for them, and then we're talking about threatening families or whatever if you don't do something, and um and so to me that's the tough part, is with the people who do it illegally like that. Whereas if it's all in the up and up, it feels so much safer. I'm not saying that like gambling should just be this accepted thing, but I do feel like for the most part, I mean, we've seen several NFL players, we've had several baseball players this year got busted for gambling. Now we have, over the last couple of years, some NBA players get busted. It is catching people, and I do feel like there is some morality here too, where it's wrong to do this, to defraud people of money and things like that. So these people should face, they're criminals. They should face criminal charges, and so that's bad. So like I think most people wouldn't do immoral or illegal activity, especially the point I was trying to make earlier, which someone in chat had an issue with, is if you're in the NBA and making millions of dollars, why on earth would you risk all of that, your whole career, your whole reputation, in Chauncey's case, a Hall of Fame career? You already have a sketchy thing in your past that now looks bad for you, even if you were telling the truth or whatever. And so to me, it just seems like isolated incidents where this would happen, and hopefully they get caught like they have been getting caught in these situations.
Yeah, here's the thing. If people were getting away with it, you wouldn't notice, but because people are getting caught, it's huge news. So it seems like it's something worse just because people are actually getting caught. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's worse. It means that the monitoring systems are working. I would bet, for no pun intended, I would bet that most professional athletes are not going to risk throwing away their entire life for stupid little prop bets or this or that, right? Like it takes a special person to do that. Like it's one of the dumbest things you could do, to throw away your life that you work so hard to become a professional in an elite sport in a field of 400, 500 NBA players, and throw it away for that. Like that's incredibly dumb. And it just shows lacking control. It shows a lot of like kind of character flaws if you're like that. At some point it comes down to personal responsibility with this sort of thing. Like a lot of people can sports bet and have fun. Some people struggle with it. I mean, that's the case with so many different things. And, if you're a professional athlete and you can't be personally responsible, then yeah, there's repercussions for that. Super simple in that way. And then there's a comment that said, investing in the stock market is technically gambling. True. And insider trading is illegal. Exactly. It's a very perfect parallel to talking about sports betting being okay for fans, but not for head coaches or players or this or that. It's the same thing with, investing in the stock market compared to insider trading, having insider info that goes into these trades, into the stock market. So, and then there's one other comment I think I wanted to read. Um, Oh, Arrowmancer said the other thing I didn't mention is that players hate sports betting. Jaylen Brown just had a quote about it. Jaylen Brown was acting like no money goes back into his pockets because of sports betting, and that's just simply not true. It brings a lot of income into the league, and the players share a split of that. And I know he's not complaining about having extra millions in his bank account. He doesn't think that it's contributing to his bank account, which is kind of surprising because Jaylen Brown is normally kind of on top of this sort of stuff. But that's just simply not true. It is increasing revenue for the league and therefore the players. So, they can hate sports gambling, but they're literally making more money. So, yeah, it is what it is. And listen, they don't have to like every single thing about the league that they make hundreds of millions off of. Like they don't have to like media availability, but that's a part of that job, right? Unfortunately, there's downsides. I know some bettors are toxic in DMs for people selling parlays, but I mean, people on social media platforms can find all sorts of reasons to be completely toxic. I've experienced it, right? And I'm not selling anybody's parlay, okay? So it's a part of social media. It's a part of today's day and age is you got a lot of people that will be unfortunately toxic, whether it's because you sold their parlay or, fans of teams, if a player plays bad, will reach out to them and be toxic and that sort of stuff. Like, and that whatever that was toxic too. And if you're an athlete, like if I was an athlete, I wouldn't have my DMs on because I wouldn't want to receive that stuff, right? Like, I probably would not have my DMs on, but like, unfortunately, that's just a part of the job. Listen, if I read hate comments about me online and I don't make millions of dollars to read it, guess what? I'm fine. It sucks, but it's just a part of reality. It's just a part of the job of being a professional athlete. You got toxic people out there that are allowed to be anonymous online and spew toxic stuff.
Yep.
So, anyway, as far as Chauncey goes, like, I don't think he's going to coach another game for the Portland Trail Blazers. I think he's done coaching in the NBA, period, because of the co-conspirator thing. And, the FBI has apparently been investigating this for years. And, they don't just come to this stuff lightly. So
he's been under surveillance the last few days, too, like before they arrested him.
Yeah. Which is crazy. It's crazy because I watched him coach probably his final NBA game in person. It's crazy. Like 9 hours after that game, 10 hours after that game, he's getting arrested. So he can't travel with the team. This is supposedly going to take 6 to 12 months at least for this to sort itself out. So you're looking at Tiago Splitter the rest of the year.
Yeah. And it's tricky right now because we've gotten that question a bunch. There might have been, did I miss any donations?
No.
Got them all. Okay. So normally I would say for sure Splitter does a good job the rest of the season. He'd have to be considered for the job permanently. But I think I don't know. There's the mystery of the new ownership, and he could just come in and be like, this situation is a mess. I'm just going to get rid of everybody and just start over with a new staff, new coaching staff, new front office, all that kind of stuff, and just take it from there. That wouldn't surprise me. I could also see him coming in and just being like, okay, you guys kind of steadied the ship here. You did a really good job this season. Let's at least let you play it out for another season or two. So yeah, it's the new ownership thing is kind of throwing in a wrench to, like, I don't know. I feel like if there wasn't going to be a new ownership, like if Tiago did a good job, he'd almost certainly get the job. But I have no idea what's going to happen with that new ownership.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But it's certainly
that's so far down the line. I mean, who knows?
getting an 81 game chance to prove yourself. Certainly, and it's off to a good start tonight. It's certainly a very long tryout for like probably the longest tryout that's ever happened, right?
Yeah, 81 game tryout, 81 game interim coach
Yeah.
is
Were you
is
shocked
insane.
when it wasn't Bjorkgren?
Yeah, I was a little surprised, but I'm happy. I'd rather have Tiago.
So I don't. You might have heard this, but I heard two different things. I heard one that Bjorkgren, they wanted to just keep him in his current role and didn't want to mix things up too much. So they kind of just put Splitter over him. And then someone told me that Bjorkgren possibly told them that he wanted that to be the case. Like he was fine staying in his current position and didn't want to be the coach. I don't know which is true. I don't know if chat knows exactly what's been said.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Um, are you happy that it's Tiago instead of Bjorkgren?
Dude, I'm stoked. I'm stoked because I feel like, well, Bjorkgren's fine. Um, they probably would have done an okay job. It's just, I don't know. It's the whole situation when he was a coach at Indiana. Um, it just, like, I didn't want him losing the locker room or whatever. And I feel like Splitter has a much better job at keeping things together. Plus, then you add in the fact that he has an offense that we're actually trying to run. And I feel like if he's in charge, he can better implement it instead of having to kind of implement it, but ultimately leave the decisions to Chauncey. He has a lot of experience. You know, he played for Popovich, won a championship under Popovich. He was assistant coach for several years in the NBA. And then, uh, you know, his year last year, you know, won at a high level. And the coaching world's been buzzing about the way his team played and the style and all that kind of stuff. That's why Chauncey went over there to get him to come here. And so I feel like, and then you see his demeanor, which probably I know the Blazers posted his post game press conference. I haven't heard that yet, so might be good to listen to real quick. But um, I I liked his demeanor. He seemed to have like a bit of an edge to him, but he also like wasn't taking the bait on many of the questions, and at least pregame. And yeah, I feel like he's a former player, so he'll be. I mean, maybe not to the level Chauncey was, but you know, players will respect him as a former player, and I really think he has a chance to be that next kind of young up and coming coach. And if we lucked into that, man, that might work out really well for us.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I want to listen to his interview too. I think we're kind of running a little late on time here.
Yeah.
I do got to give a shout out to Sleeper. So, and I'll just say this about Sleeper, man. When I promote Sleeper, it's for you to have fun. You know, they got promos and stuff. Doesn't mean you're gonna win. Doesn't mean anything, right? Just if you're into that sort of thing or want to try your hand at, you know, making a parlay responsibly, that's what Sleeper's for, okay? And that's what our promo code Uprise is for. Sleeper supports the channel, greatly supports the channel, and we greatly appreciate it. And a company like Sleeper is huge for a lot of content creators across the sports space, right? So this,
as Cole points out, they do. You can do like fantasy leagues and stuff on there too.
yeah,
It's not all
fantasy
just,
leagues.
like,
You can do free picks if you're into that sort of thing. And then if you want to do put money down, you can use promo code Uprise. You'll get a free $20 entry, no deposit required. So you don't even have to put money down for that. But then if you want to deposit up to $100, you get a 100% match. So if you want to have fun with that, be my guest. It uses it supports the channel if you use the promo code Uprise. So you can go have fun with that. We're going to do some fun stuff with them this year with our content. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And that's that.
Just don't gamble anything you can't afford to lose, and you're fine.
Yep. That's how it goes. But have some fun. It's at the end of the day, it comes down to personal responsibility. It's like with alcohol. I might recommend a beer to you, or I might recommend a shot that I like. That doesn't mean I recommend you to take 10 shots and then go drive your car. Completely different things. So anyway, be responsible with whatever you do. Shout out to Wes Davidson. $5 donation says, "Go Blazers." Thank you, Wes. Appreciate it.
What's up, Wes?
Yep. And at the end of the day, don't pull a Chauncey. Don't rig poker games. Don't give out insider information if you have access to insider information that you should not be giving out.
Man, that's so much fun with Poker Stars when it first became a thing back in the day. And then that was all rigged too.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yikes.
I don't trust any online poker stuff anymore.
Yeah, I get that. Adam Smith says, "LOL, yes, don't do illegal things." Correct.
Yeah.
Let's go quickly. I do want to go around the NBA real quick. All right, we had 12 games today. We got 10 scores, but there's some interesting stuff, I think, Eric, from the NBA today across the league. So let me just pull up the box scores here real quick. First game we had the Bucks, who are 2-0 without Dame. 2-0 to start the season. They beat Toronto. Giannis 31-20-7.
They beat Washington and Toronto, but
yeah,
it's a good one for them. Yeah.
I mean, both Toronto and Washington won their other game. So,
that's true.
But they had 23.7 assists off the bench from Cole Anthony, 20 points from Gary Trent Jr. For Toronto, they had 29 from Brandon Ingram, 20 from RJ Barrett. And then you had the Hawks beat the Magic. These are two teams that could have home court advantage this year. 111-107. The Hawks, led by Trae Young, 25 points, 6 assists. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the new Hawk, 19 points in 31 minutes.
Banchero took a horrible three with time left in the game. I think he thought there was less time than there was, and ended up losing. Yeah.
Yikes. Mohamed Gee had 13 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. It's always interesting, the early games, to see who might be breaking out into maybe a rotation player or a starting caliber player and just see who's taking a jump. Mohamed Gee had himself a solid game. And then Franz Wagner, 27 points. Tristan da Silva had 15 off the bench. Good for him. Anthony Black, 21 minutes, 8 points. Is he ever gonna take the leap that maybe people are hoping that he would take? I don't know. He's a fringe starter at best so far in his career. You got the Cavs beating the Nets 131-124 to move to 1-1 on the season. The Cavs led by 35 from Donovan Mitchell. My guy Jalen Tyson has been starting, Eric.
Yep.
I love it. They don't have Darius Garland right now, so Sam Merrill also starting. He had 22 today. And then for the Nets, it's going to be interesting to box score watch them just because of the rookies they're playing. Ben Seraph got the start today, 2 points in 18 minutes, 1 assist on 1 for 2 from the field. Zaire Williams, 25 off the bench. Yegor Demon, 3 for 5 from 3 today, Eric. He's had a couple solid games to start his career, and 3 for 5 from 3. There's a lot of questions about his shot.
Diaman.
Is that how you're supposed to say it? Diaman.
I think I heard something about that.
Yeah. Demon sound, I don't know. Demon's easier for me to say. The Knicks beat the Celtics 105-95. The Celtics are 0-2. The Knicks led by 31 from Jalen Brunson, 26 from Karl Anthony Towns. Josh Hart has had his minutes cut. Miles McBride got the start, played 32 minutes. Josh Hart only 19 off the bench.
He's hurt. He has a back injury. He didn't play their first game and was limited. It was on a minutes restriction tonight.
Gotcha. See, I didn't know that. 14 rebounds in 19 minutes with a back injury from Josh Hart. Who else other than Josh Hart? On the Celtics side of things, 23 from Jaylen Brown, but they're not looking good so far. Anthony Simons off the bench in 27 minutes, 10 points, 4 assists, 4 for 9 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3 for the former Blazer. Still weird seeing him come off the bench. They've been starting Neemias Queta, Sam Hauser. Yeah, that team might be a lottery team.
Well, to be fair, who they played the first game? They played the Knicks and the Cavs or something like that. I forgot who they played the first game. I felt like it was someone
the Celtics. Good. Or not the Celtics. They are the Celtics. The 76ers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Lost by 1.
76ers are mystery.
Yeah, 76ers have been starting Dominic Barlow and playing Jabari Walker, which is interesting. They're both on two ways. You had the Pistons beat the Rockets 115-111. The Rockets fall to 0-2. The Pistons had 21 from Cade Cunningham, 19 from Asar Thompson, 17 from Duncan Robinson, a new Piston there in Detroit, and then 37 from Kevin Durant in his home debut for the Houston Rockets. He was 16 for 18 from the free throw line, but the Rockets could not get the win, so they fall to 0-2, 2 tough, close losses for them. The Heat beat the Grizzlies 146-114, 24 from Bam Adebayo, 20 off the bench from Nikola Jovic. The Heat had 8 players in double figures. For the Grizzlies, they had only 12 from Ja Morant in 22 minutes. He was 4 for 16. Jaren Jackson Jr. led the way with 19. My guy Cedric Coward in 22 minutes, Eric, 16 points off the bench.
Yeah, it's looked good the first 2 games.
Yep. Watch him be the next Desmond Bane. The Spurs beat the Pelicans 120-116. I feel like I was going out on a limb with my Wembanyama MVP prediction in our prediction stream, but I'm feeling pretty good because he had 29 points, 11 rebounds, 9 blocks. 9 blocks.
Yeah, he just looks like he's a class above everyone else.
Yeah, finally taking that step I've been expecting, last year. I feel like every year the Spurs have had Wemby, I've predicted them to do better than they've had, or better than they've done. For the Pelicans, Zion Williamson's healthy. He had a poster dunk on Wembanyama. It's 27 points, 10 boards, 7 assists for him. Trey Murphy played 46 minutes in this overtime game. 24 points, 10 boards, 5 assists for him. And Derek Queen off the bench, 35 minutes played, 15 points, 6 rebounds for the rookie. They also played Jeremiah Fears 29 minutes. He had 13 points. So a couple of rookies playing there in New Orleans. The Wizards, 117-107 win over the Mavs, who fall to 0-2. Have you seen Keyshawn George this year?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's the Wizards' best player, yeah.
34 points, 11 boards, 4 assists. I never remember him being aggressive when he was at Miami, or even last year. He didn't shoot the ball a lot. I really need to see the footage of him scoring 34 points in 35 minutes because, yeah, he might be their best player so far this year.
Oh, he easily is.
It's crazy. Like, is Sar going to make the jump? Nope, Keyshawn George. I forget what he had his first game, but it's also like 24 points a game, something like that. So maybe he's taking a leap towards stardom.
And the Fire Nico chants are back.
Yep. Even though they got Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg tonight, I don't know, maybe he was better than Trey Johnson, but Trey Johnson had 17 off the bench, 7 for 13 in 26 minutes. Cooper Flagg on the other end, 35 minutes, 18 points, 6 assists, 5 boards, 6 for 14 from the field. Cooper Flagg will be fine. Nico might not be. The Mavs lose. The Mavs are just trying to survive until they get Kyrie back, but I don't know, man. They have not looked good, and losing at home to the Wizards is not good. And playing Flagg at point guard is kind of silly.
Yeah.
But what can you do? Would you start D'Lo over like PJ? Or what do you think is the move there? Oh, Andy got collab camped. Yikes. Anyway. We'll see if we can bring Eric back. But the Jazz almost get to 2-0. They lose to the Kings 105-104. Ace Bailey barely has played for the Jazz so far this year. For the Kings, they were led by Zach LaVine, who had 31 points. And then the Blazers, your Blazers take care of business against the Warriors 139-119. Beautiful score there. Beautiful score. Bring back Eric from the collab cam. All right, there we go. The Clippers, the Blazers' next opponent, beat the Suns 129-102, led by 27 from Kawhi and 30 from James Harden. Another old team that we play. Hopefully we can run them out of the building. The Suns led by 21 from Dylan Brooks. And then, I thought there was another game. Oh, the Lakers beat the Timberwolves. They took care of business, 128-110. Behind 49, 11, and 8 from Luka Doncic. My goodness, no wonder you're getting Fire Nico chants going. Well, I think that game was before this one, but that dude's phenomenal. Rui, my guy Rui, 10 for 13, 23 points for him. That was the NBA scoreboard from today. Anyway, Eric, any final words for today's game? Phenomenal game. Blazers win. First win of the season. They get to 1-1. Hopefully we can win next game so we can be above 500, even though it's only 3 games in. It would just be cool to be above 500. But really impressed with the way they won today.
Yeah, for sure. Now see how they play on the road. Be fun if we went into LA and ran them out of the gym like we did tonight. And so hopefully we see more of that.
Yep, absolutely agree. So plan on dropping a video tomorrow. I'm going to try and drop videos on off days. I'll quickly recap this game and, go over a hot topic, maybe react to Tiago's interview, play a clip from his interview, that sort of thing, preview the Clippers game, maybe do a little mailbag with that. I don't know. We'll see. But I plan on doing videos like that on off days, previewing the next game, doing a quick little recap of the game prior. So make sure you are subscribed and have the bell button turned on so you're notified when those drop. And then we'll be live again on Sunday. That's a call-in night, so you can call into the stream on Sunday after the Blazers take on the Los Angeles Clippers in LA. That game tipping off at 6 p.m. Pacific time. First night of a back-to-back as the Blazers then play at the Lakers at 7 p.m. on Monday. So busy schedule coming up. Looking forward to covering it with all you guys. Hit the like on the way out of here. My cat's scratching at the door to get out of here. It's been sleeping next to me the entire stream. I don't know if you can hear that. But
I can't.
Yeah. But so I'll wrap up this stream for my cat too as well. But any final words?
Just want to say thank you to everyone for watching. Appreciate you all. Hope to see you after games all season long, win or lose. And hope to see you guys on Sunday. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later.
Yep, there's your cat reveal. There you go. Unfazed.
I hear it now.
Yeah, unfazed. No, unfazed. Anyway, have a good rest of your night. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you again on Sunday. Hopefully the Blazers can keep this momentum going up and get another win in the Tiago Splitter era. Blazers beat the Warriors 139-119. We're out of here. We'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!